It's Chris. Best of freaking November. Yeah, it's because it's December, right? Looking back, what were my most interesting? Because we're not talking about the best always, right? Because best is very subjective, but I like things that raise points, controversies, rants, topics of discussion as a whole. My top campaigns on crowdfunding, my top games. Let's start with games, though, today. Not going to start with crowdfunding. We're going to start with games. And for some reason, I'm going to flip the Frosthaven coin here to get going. Because we had a totally other superfluous coin. With the first game we're going to be talking up, it's 20 strong here. If you missed my review, yeah, I'm a backer. I'm a backer. This is not a review copy, just to be clear of this one. Weird boxing, right? Like, there's another separate, like, lid that goes along with this, but it's just kind of weird overall. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I said in my review, it's doing some clever things with the recovery system of getting back these colored dice back into your pool. All three of these games are distinctly enough different that if you own one of them, owning another of them is not going to be the same game twice. They all bring different dynamics to the table. Solar Sentinels, probably my favorite of the three. Too Many Bones, it's going to remind you of Too Many Bones. Is the coin thing that they put in here, is this really that useful? I don't even know if I can get it out during the camera shot here. I mean, not really. Extra money for making this a super deluxe chip and magnetic there. Say what you will. I mean, I like the monolithic box as a whole, though. I mean, I like that. Give them kudos. At the same time, you know, when I was just talking about the other solo game that went head-to-head with this, Kinfire Delve Vainglorious Grotto, it's way too long of a name, but I had more fun playing this for, you know, the $20 or so that this one's going to go at retail than this, which is going to be, what, like 80 or something, probably? So, you know, 2080, which one am I going to keep in my collection, right? You do the math there. It just didn't seem as fun as I was hoping, as weird as that sounds. That's going to be very vague. It's going to be very opaque in terms of a criticism, right? But ultimately, when you play a game, you look at it mechanically and you go, how mechanically sound is this? Is there a gaping hole? Is there just a gaping area of deficit that just does not work, that breaks the immersion, that makes it feel unbalanced, that just doesn't work as a whole, right? And then the other half of you, the non-super analytical side, goes, hey, we just played that game. Did I have fun playing that game? Do I really enjoy my time playing that game? And whatever that may be, right? And sometimes that's who you're playing with more than the game itself. But it creates that atmosphere, that dynamic, whether that's with multiple other people or whether that's by yourself. And I just didn't have that with this game. So I'm selling it right now. I've already had 2 or 3 people make offers on it. So that was game number 1. Game number 2 is a campaign that surpassed all expectations. And we'll cover this one, I guess, on this side of things. I wasn't expecting to, but we'll cover it on this side of things. I guess. Kelp. Kelp just raised hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like, I looked at this and I said, this is probably going to get like 50, 150. People are blowing up with this. And was it because it's got the animal aesthetic? I also worry, not because it's a bad game. I think it's a fantastic game. But I worry that it's one of those campaigns. There was that camping one from earlier in the year. There was that other nature bug themed one. I saw one of the tabletop like websites that like is used for advertising, and they're like spouting this one of those other games. You know, one of those ones that almost raised like $1 million for this light worker placement like nature themed game. I forget which one it was from like 3 or 4 months ago. But I look at this one and I go, is it people trying to ride coattails, right? I think a lot of the Tiny Epic series, when that began, I saw a lot of people doing that with the Tiny Epic ones. They wanted to get in because they said, this is a really hot flash in the pan. And we want to feel like we're not missing out. And that's what I feel like at the time of me filming this. Nemesis Retaliation is happening with that. And I feel like that this one was also very much this as well. And again, I don't say that as like a pure negative, right? But I take it as, if you don't have somebody to play this game with that is going to be dedicated to knowing and learning their side from an asymmetric head-to-head hidden movement deduction style of things with dice that are going to play a pretty decently heavily role depending on what side you're on, this game is easily going to fall flat for you. Easily. And my number one thing always, right, is get stuff that's right for you. It doesn't mean get stuff that is objectively well received by me, by anybody else. I'm not trying to sell you on a game. If I wanted to sell you on a game, you'd see the word preview on a lot more of my videos on the channel. Last time I checked, we don't have very many. And so that's how I see this. And that's how I wonder, and I hope people are not going into this one from that aspect of things. Similarly, let's just stay with this. It's a little bit of, again, of a blur of campaigns. Queen's New Capital. Just moved it out to my demo room, i.e. the basement back room. I don't have room, people. Like, anyway, it's a whole nother conversation. I'm not going to get into it. But it was a very interesting, probably one of the more clever games that I've played from crowdfunding prototypes this year. Truth be told. Very clever in the card play that it was utilizing. I really enjoyed it from that aspect. The controversy is it's using AI art. And I have a whole separate video ranted, rambled, and recorded probably like actually 2 or 3 months ago when the Terraforming Mars thing came out that I just never edited and aired. So maybe I'll do that one of these days. But it just raised the issue again. How much of an deal is that? How big of an ethical issue? Now, people raise their pitchforks all over the place every time it gets talked about. But the fact of the matter is the jury's kind of still out. You can be on one side or the other. I don't care. Like, right? Like, I don't know what side I'm going to fall on, ultimately. Because I understand the argument on both sides. I know one way leaning stronger than the other, but I'm also trying to stay out of it. And then the way I look at this is, you know, if you're going to use that as a placeholder right now because you can't afford the artist, I think that's fine. Also, if you just have a couple generic images, what do I also always say on the channel? Gameplay trumps art. Gameplay trumps aesthetic. Period. So I don't need it to look super fancy. You may have needed it to look a little fancier to get the eyes on it on the crowdfunding, and I understand that. But if you make a disclaimer and say, hey guys, this is AI art filler and we're going to get this generically filled out, and it may not look quite like this, but you know what? If you really are hooked by our game and the gameplay, then, you know, changing the art on it shouldn't change your opinion of the game as a whole, and you should still be happy with the end product. So that one had some mixed feelings from me in a whole. The other one that I have to talk about, you know, I mentioned Kinfire Delve. You know, as the opposing 20 strong argument. I may or may not put an individual review out this. I may put one in the 5 or 4 in one video. I may just leave it because now this is the second or third time I've talked about it in a separate video here now. This is from Incredible Dreams, and it's just a really good, solid solo game. I have no qualms about saying, like, if you're interested in something like this, card driven with a little dice with heavy luck, though, that's what you got to worry about. Heavy luck in a different way than 20 strong. Give it a look-see. I was really actually surprised. It exceeded my expectations from that aspect of things. And let's talk about the last one as well. My personal, probably my favorite game I played all month. BOOOOOOOP. The October Halloween version. My wife nearly wasn't as much of a fan, but you know what? I was. Doesn't matter what she thinks because she'll never come on camera and talk to you. She's told me that several times. I've tried to entice her. She won't. But I preferred it. I'm going to keep it. Do I think the added little ghost cats that you can maneuver across the board to boop things even further are necessary? No, I don't think it's necessary at all. In fact, assuming that is the only difference between the original boop and boop, then go buy whatever's cheaper and whatever's easier available or trade value wise for you. Because this one may be on my top 10 list of the year. If I do that, be the only person video wise on content creation, YouTube, whatever, that has more than one abstract on their top 10. I am that person. I love abstracts, folks. I don't talk about them much on the channel. Not sure if I said that facetiously or sarcastically or seriously there, but I do. And so this was a very, very nice fitting and feeling from that. So that's why we're going to end it with that. I mean, essentially all you're trying to do is get all your little cats onto the board and get tic-tac-toe 3 in a row. But anytime you place one next to another one, it boops it unless you basically reinforce it. If you reinforce it, it doesn't get booped unless it's a cat bumping a kitten. Cats can bump kittens, kittens can't bump cats, and you get 3 in a row of the kittens, then you trade your kittens in for cats, and then you'd use those cats to get 3 cats in a row. Sounds, well, it's simple. It's simple. Don't fool yourself. Don't really like the setup in the box and the little cushion on the bottom side of the box that you're supposed to use. I would kill for like a cloth mat like they do with CMYK or with, what's the other one that did that? I have a Talk cloth mat as well. So I love that instead, but whatever. It's fine. Well, let's go to the other campaigns. What else, crowdfunding-wise? Wow! Nemesis Retaliation. What can I say about Nemesis Retaliation that I already haven't said about Nemesis Retaliation, right? Millions. And the millions! That's a The Rock reference. Dwayne Johnson, in case you're not familiar, he goes into his little spiel every time he goes into the WWE ring, and he goes, my fans, the millions and millions of The Rock's fans, whatever it is. I forget exactly how it goes, but you know what I'm saying. The millions that this game is raising. And as always, we'll do compliment sandwich. I love the fact that they separate out miniatures from gameplay. I love the fact that they put a standee version out. I hate the fact that there, at the time of me filming this, is no rule book. The gameplay is less than overwhelming, and the differences between this and the others have been less highlighted than I think should be for people looking to spend upwards of triple digits. That's not a pro. That's a marketing ploy, a very good one that almost all crowdfunding campaigns utilize to some degree, greater or lesser, right? That's why you now see more preview videos on campaign pages than anything else. It's not that there even necessarily aren't videos non-preview. It's just that those are the ones that the campaigns decide is going to put their product oftentimes in the best light, and they utilize it to the fullest extent. Now, sometimes it's all previews / playthroughs. I view those sort of similarly in that sense. Because again, similarly with playthroughs, right? You can never tell how much rules overhead has gone into learning this, how much rules overhead is just being not blatantly utilized, or how much of a rule book or final product you're actually getting in a video like that versus, Awakened Realms giving you this game probably sometime mid-2025. Because it's not anywhere near production. It's not anywhere near, final draft. And so, not that the product is going to be like dramatically terribly different than what you see on the crowdfunding campaign, but you can bet your bottom buck dollar it is going to be different. And so, should you back during the campaign? Is it a good value? Good value money-wise, but a good value are you going to get played-wise? Those two things, as I said previously in another video, are something that are not necessarily overlapping Venn diagram creating a circle, if you know what I mean, right? Venn diagram usually like this, Venn diagram like this, same thing. That's what I'm going for there. Fancy poor man's stupid analogy there. The other, highlights, I didn't back it. I may late back it. I may just pick it up at retail. I don't know yet, but Bullet Universe. It's going to end up in my collection at some point. Transparency. I will own everything Bullet related, period. I already own everything Bullet related. That's out. I own the Beethoven promo. I own the other promo that came out. The Penny Arcade one. I think that was like adjacent. And I'm going to own these two other games. It's not going to be the biggest wave maker. It's not going to be the biggest fundraiser. It's not going to be anything, but it also was a very good test of the market to say, you know what, guys, we don't have to, spend hundreds or thousands of dollars on Facebook ads and Board Game Geek ads and paid preview videos to still do relatively well. Now you can make the argument that they're an established company, as small as they are, with a core following. At the same time, everybody else follows this pattern. Everybody else, right, does Tuesdays now because Tuesdays have been shown to be the best crowdfunding day to launch. You know who's not doing Tuesdays anymore? CMON. Because the market became so oversaturated and crowded on that day, they said, we're going to stand out again and we're going to go to Wednesdays. Oh, how's that worked out for them? It's fine. It shows you that if you put out a good enough freaking product, doesn't matter what the day you launch on. Folks, that's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you launch on a Tuesday and do well, you're going to look at it and go, oh, look, it's a Tuesday. If you launch on a Wednesday and do bad, you're going to go, oh, it's because I didn't launch on Tuesday. Causation, correlation, right? Not the same. It's a little more complicated than that. I know I'm, dumbing it down into very, very, but ultimately, if your product is that good, it really, really, really doesn't matter, that sort of thing. And this goes to show. And you know what? If people get this and they really love it, you know what's going to happen? They're going to sell a whole hell of a lot more because they put out a good product and they spent it on that side of things instead of the marketing. Marketing for a short period of time, the hotness, the hype train only goes for so long. You know why Bullet is still selling and maybe one of their best sellers ever? It's because it's a freaking amazing game. You may not love it, but I do. But it's a freaking amazing, well thought of game overall. And that's not because they spent thousands of dollars first advertising it when it came out on crowdfunding or after it got delivered to backers. No, it's because people really loved the product itself. That matters more. Period. The other one, we got to talk about it. We got to talk about it as I'm spinning this coin now. I don't know why the coin is out today. It's sitting on the table almost every video, but I just play with every video. But we're going to talk about it because it's freaking Food Chain Magnate Special Edition from Lucky Duck. People literally gasped and I think choked on the beverages they were consuming when the crowdfunding page went live and that price point was announced. Like, holy freaking balls, Batman. I mean, $300 plus shipping extra, essentially, for the base game and the expansion. Now, we've had, deluxeification, we've had inflation, we've had over cost of a lot of stuff. But this was sort of, you can have your cake and eat it too. Why can't the peasants have their cake and eat it too? Sort of moment. And interestingly enough, the Emperor's New Clothes. People are like, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Well, enough people, thankfully, didn't think it was fine. Hopefully in a mostly respectful manner. Because before the end of the campaign, they came out with okay, we're not going to bring it to that level of bling sort of pledge. Again, a lesser, lower, deluxeified pledge level, which was closer to the retail price from Splatter right now. Only with actual aesthetic. And again, you know what? They went way too far pendulum swinging with the deluxeified and the plastic, folks. I won't make that argument to you. It did not look good to me either. But you know what? To say that the aesthetic of Food Chain Magnate, because it's all about the pure gameplay, I mean, there's trying and then there's not really trying too. Let's be frank here. It's kind of lackluster. Yeah, I agree. Like I said earlier in the video, gameplay trumps all. Like we say with my kids, I guess. We'll put it this way. I tell my kids when they go to school, right? I want them to get A's. I don't actually tell them that, but I want them to get A's. However, did you do your best? And I'd look at that aesthetic and I'm like, is that really the best you can do? Is it? Okay. If it is, okay. But if it's not, it's like my kid did a family tree the other day. He basically, all he did in the family tree, they're like, decorate it, put pictures on it, put all this stuff on it. My kid's like, line, name, line, name, done. Like, okay. Yes, you have met the requirements of the project to do the bare minimum for this. However, kid, we're going to go a little bit above that. He didn't really like that, but then it turned out much better, and then he liked it. So, you know what I'm saying. Then, DCeased. They hinted, apparently, this is what people are saying, they hinted at the end of DCeased, I'm talking about the end of DCeased instead of anything in the actual campaign first, that there was going to be something in the master plan, well, which is an allude to, well, the master plan being United. And so they're assuming that they're alluding to DC United going to be coming sometime. Because, I mean, if you have the DC license and you do not take advantage of that, I guarantee DC Marvel United, you know what I'm saying, DC's version of Marvel United will raise more money than DCeased. Boom, mic drop, Lead Stradamus right there. Calling it. Calling my shot. More characters, more villains, lower overhead. I'm not going to say lower cost, but now you've got the mechanics of the game, that was really loud, down significantly. I think it probably got dampened by the dampener on the microphone. But, I mean, you've learned. You've got 3 seasons worth of learning. So if that isn't announced sometime in 2024, because we've already got like the Gods of War project, and I think they've announced something else that I'm completely blanking on as well right now. But if that doesn't come out crowdfunding wise in 2024, I'm going to be shocked. Pikachu face shocked. DCeased though, I mean, I guess I didn't really like the way it was structured to begin with. If you're putting out, like, I don't know, what is this, like the 12th iteration of a game? 12th. I'm making that up, but it's probably not far off. If you're putting that out, you would think, because realistically, you're getting some people to go in on this one because it's DC. Just like Marvel, you got some people like myself that were suckered in their first Zombicide game because of the IP. But you would think that they would be saying, we're trying to get in some return people, right? Because if you've already bought it, chances are you've already got the cash and we'd like to dip into your wallet again. And so why would you not exclaim from the mountaintops, the millions, not the dollars, but the fans, why would you not get this game? Why wouldn't you exclaim that, hey guys, this one is significantly different in X, Y, and Z way. Now, maybe you want some compatibility. Maybe you want some crossover. Maybe you've got one of those sitting in your back pockets. But why would you not scream it and say, hey guys, we've tweaked this, modified this, made it better in some way, shape, or form? Even the Marvel United season 1 to 2 to 3, they said, okay, we added this, we added this, we added this, we tweaked this, we reinforced what was lacking in the previous years, and we did this better. And I didn't really see anything in that. Again, I'm, sort of superficial glancing at it during the whole campaign, to make me go, I need this one because they're doing something better, not just because it's a DC IP. So, yeah, I guess so. So that was kind of frustrating from that aspect of things, to say you had a chance here and you did it, but you also didn't do it. Because again, you got like your 5 expansions, and don't get me wrong, like I'm a big fan of like some of the Batman stuff and some of the expansion stuff that they threw in there, but like, I also have Marvel. I'm one of those last people that is like, okay, they split their shipping like West Coast, East Coast. West Coast got it all first. East Coast is like, they've got like 5 of the boxes or containers there, but there's like 1 drifting still in the middle of the sea, floating in the Bermuda Triangle still. And they've said, well, we're going to deliver these other 4. And if you're in that last one, you're just kind of SOL, and maybe you'll get it sometime in mid-2024. Now, they didn't actually say that, but that's my interpretation, being very sarcastic and facetious about it. So I don't have my copy yet, I guess is what I'm saying. And was the jury still out? Yeah, I'm not going to get another one before I even have that. Screw you, man. No. Hype hotness. Yeah. Last up. Because I loved it. Because it killed it over on GameFound. Again, not for everybody. Not for everybody at all. Singularity. Those folks, we did a little video chat before the campaign. They said, Chris, we want to talk to you. We want to see what you're like. We want to see if this is a good fit for you. We want to see if you're interested. We want to see the man behind the camera. And I said, sure. And so we did. And they were like, yeah. And then I was like, yeah. It's a great game. I think it fits very solidly next to all my other duelers. I think I like it better than a couple of them. But it's just different. And, it's like my 3 kids. Which one's my favorite? Well, let me tell you which one. Actually, it's the number. But no, right? I like them all for different reasons. And this one falls in that niche. I've got a copy of Senjutsu sitting right down there beside the camera, because I just finished filming a different video before this. And I'm scared that I'm not going to like my copy of Senjutsu. And I'm going to like something like this a whole lot better. Because you know what they didn't do? They didn't throw in a bunch of unnecessary miniatures. You know what they didn't do? They focused on just the gameplay. They made it solid. At least what I had, right? And so if that expands to all the other stuff that they did, because I only had a prototype, so I didn't have access to all the other stuff, and the campaigns and the solos and I just had the couple factions that were there, and I really freaking enjoyed it. Really, really enjoyed it. It's a fun game for me. Again, don't ever confuse the two. Like me being good at a game and me really enjoying a game. Those two are not the same whatsoever. Like game night, guess who usually doesn't win any games at game night? This guy. He's usually teaching the games. He's usually already played them more than everyone else. And he's usually coming up short every time. But that's also not why I play. I play for the enjoyment and experience, going back to what we said about 20 Strong earlier. So, about why it just felt a little off to me. So, there you go. That's my top of November. That's my most interesting or controversial, topic-inducing games and campaigns. I like doing this. I like doing it a little bit different rather than just, these are my top 5. I like this, 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 and this, and this, 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 and this. I just can't do that anymore. Just can't. I like doing it this way better. So I get to rant a little bit too. Because again, it's my channel. That's what you subscribed for. See you around. Stay classy. Thanks for watching. Peace out.